Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyay and you are watching Namaste World, your daily window into the biggest stories shaping India and the world. Prime Minister Modi landed in Israel, reset the equation and came back with an FTA in pipeline, UPA expansion, 17 agreements and a special strategic partnership that signaled India meant serious business in West Asia. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney came to India to reset relationship. Mumbai, New Delhi, boardrooms, billion-dollar deals, but conspicuously and deliberately, Punjab wasn't on the map. Saudi Arabia has banned poultry and egg imports from 40 countries, including India, as bird flu fears force one of the world's biggest food importers to put consumer safety ahead of trade. But the biggest news of the day: Pakistan and Afghanistan have crossed the point of no return. Airstrikes on Kabul, Taliban offensive along the Durand line, and a defense minister declaring open war. South Asia's most volatile border just exploded. All that and more. Global flashpoints, power plays, and stories that matter. Coming up in this edition of Namaste World. The escalating border conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan has reached a dangerous new phase, with both sides now trading airstrikes and declaring open hostilities. Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif posted on social media that the country's patience has run out, stating now it's an open war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. This comes after Pakistan launched airstrike on Afghan cities including Kabul, Kandahar and Paktakia in response to what Islamabad called unprovoked attacks by Taliban forces on Pakistan border positions. Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi described the strikes as a befitting reply, while officials claimed heavy casualties on the Afghan side, with multiple Taliban posts and equipment destroyed in sectors like Chitral, Khyber, Muhammad, Khurram and Bajaur. In retaliation, the Taliban administration's National Defense Ministry announced a large-scale offensive along the Durand line late Thursday into Friday. They claimed their forces killed 55 Pakistani soldiers, captured other alive, seized 2 garrisons and 19 outposts and captured weapons, ammunition, a tank and a military vehicle. The Afghan statement added that 8 Mujahideen were martyred and around 11 wounded in 4-hour operation across provinces including Paktika, Paktia, Khost, Nangarhar, Kunar and Nuristan. It also reported 13 civilian wounded in a Pakistani missile strike on a refugee camp in Nangarhar. Taliban spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid confirmed Pakistani airstrikes hit Afghan targets but insisted there was no casualties from those raids. Further escalation came today when Afghanistan claimed its Air Force struck Pakistani military sites including camp near Faizabad in Islamabad, barracks in Nowshera and a site in Jamrud. Both sides accused the other of inciting the latest round of violence amid long-standing tensions over border security and militant groups. The situation remains highly volatile, with risk of further escalation along the shared border. Stay tuned for more updates as this story develops. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2-day visit to Israel was never going to be just a photo opportunity, and it wasn't. Landing in one of the world's most volatile regions, Prime Minister Modi chose clarity over caution. The result? A special strategic partnership, 17 agreements, an FTA in the pipeline, UPA heading to Tel Aviv, and a defense alliance that just got a whole lot deeper. India didn't just visit Israel, India meant business. Here's a report by Rishika Aradhya.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Israel at a time when West Asia looks fragile, divided and tense. But instead of caution, he chose clarity. In a packed 2-day visit, India and Israel elevated their time-tested ties into a special strategic partnership. That is not just diplomatic language, that is a signal. India sees Israel as a co-partner in defense, technology, trade and counter-terrorism. Standing beside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Modi did not just shake hands, he reset the equation. The biggest headline, an FTA in the making.
Bilateral goods trade has grown significantly in recent years, but it does not reflect the full scope of opportunity. That is why our teams are working hard to negotiate an ambitious free trade agreement. It will unlock the vast untapped potential in our trade relationship. We will also work closely in different formats, such as India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, and the I2U2 framework between India, Israel, UAE, and the US.
Both sides committed to concluding a mutually beneficial free trade agreement soon. Bilateral trade stands at $3.62 billion. That is modest compared to India's biggest partners. But this trade is not about volume, it is about value. It is technology heavy. It is innovation driven. An FTA can cut tariffs, ease regulatory barriers, and unlock deeper collaboration in AI, cybersecurity, defense manufacturing, and high-end agriculture. Israel's ambassador even hinted that the deal could close this year. If that happens, it marks a serious economic upgrade. Then comes UPI. India's digital payments and powerhouse, UPI, is likely to enter Israel. That is more than convenience. It is India exporting its fintech architecture from Paris to Singapore and now potentially Tel Aviv. UPI becomes a symbol of India's digital muscle. Payments connect people. Payments build ecosystems. This is the soft power with hard impact. But the visit went far beyond trade and fintech. 16 agreements, 11 major announcements, cooperation in artificial intelligence, a critical and emerging technologies partnership covering AI, quantum and critical minerals, expansion in civil nuclear energy and space, a new India-Israel financial dialogue, a planned center of excellence in cybersecurity in India, stronger defense ties with joint development and technology transfer, 50,000 additional Indian workers over 5 years.
In a demonstration of the deep trust and strength that prevails in this relationship, the two leaders also decided to elevate the relationship to an India-Israel special strategic partnership for peace, innovation, and prosperity. Following the delegation-level talks, both leaders jointly addressed a press conference. A number of MOUs and agreements, I think nearly 16 in total, were exchanged in the presence of the leaders. There were also several announcements. A comprehensive list of the agreements as well as the announcements will shortly be available on our website.
And strategically, Modi made India's stance clear. Zero tolerance for terrorism. India and Israel stand shoulder to shoulder. So, was this visit successful? If success means optics, yes. If success means substance, even more so. An FTI pipeline, UPI expansion, high-tech partnerships, defense collaboration, labor mobility, and strategic clarity in a volatile region. This was not symbolism. This was structured expansion. Modi did not just visit Israel, he deepened the alliance. With Rishika Radhya, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Mark Carney is in India, and for the first time in decades, a Canadian Prime Minister's itinerary has no room for Punjab. Mumbai, New Delhi, energy deals, trade talks, a long pending free trade agreement back on table, but Punjab absent. And while Ottawa calls the economic reset diplomacy, across the Punjabi and Sikh diaspora, the hurt is real, the frustration is loud, and the question is uncomfortable. Who made Punjab skippable? Rudashish Kanjilal reports.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is visiting India. His stops include Mumbai, New Delhi, boardrooms, energy deals, trade negotiations. But one name is missing: Punjab. For decades, whenever a Canadian Prime Minister landed in India, Punjab was almost always on the itinerary. From Jean Chrétien to Stephen Harper to Justin Trudeau, Punjab mattered. It was symbolic, political, personal. This time, it's absent. Carney's visit is being billed as economic reset diplomacy, trade expansion, energy partnerships, reviving the long-pending Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, talks that have dragged on since 2010. After years of strained ties, Carney is trying to rebuild bridges with New Delhi. Even during his election campaign, he signaled he wanted stronger relations with India. He invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the G7 summit in Glasgow. He made it clear Canada's foreign policy would not be dictated by pressure groups. And yet, Punjab, the emotional heartland for millions of Canadian Punjabis, has been left out. The Prime Minister's office says this visit is focused on economic and political objectives. Cultural engagement, they argue, happens back home in Canada. But disappointment is real. Across the Punjabi and Sikh diaspora, there is frustration, confusion, hurt. The bigger question now is uncomfortable. Who pushed Punjab to the margins? For over a century, Punjabis have built a formidable presence in Canada. From businesses to politics to academia, the community commands influence, respect, visibility. But over the past 4 decades, a small but aggressive fringe has reshaped the narrative. Sectarian Khalistan factions, loud, confrontational, media-savvy, have projected themselves as the sole voice of Sikhs. Their protests, their threats, their inflammatory campaigns, the damage has been severe. Since Carney became Prime Minister, certain MPs of Punjabi origin openly opposed his outreach to India. During Modi's G7 visit, during diplomatic recalibration, at every step, attempts were made to corner and embarrass the government. When national interest clashes with factional agendas, governments take note. Extremist intimidation didn't help. No government wants to walk into controversy abroad. No leader wants to be trapped in diaspora politics while negotiating billion-dollar deals. And yet, the tragedy is this. A few voices have been amplified as if they represent all. Canadian media often frames fringe activists as Sikh representatives. Their rhetoric becomes the headline. Their anger becomes the narrative. The silent majority fades into the background. Here lies the deeper crisis. When radicals claim to speak for the community and the broader community does not push back strongly enough, perception hardens into reality. Governments respond to perception. Punjab then becomes not a partner but a political minefield. The result? No unified voice, no coherent message, no stable representation. So when Carney plans a strategic visit focused on economic revival and geopolitical recalibration, Punjab becomes a risk calculation. The entire Punjabi diaspora now pays the price for the actions of a few, because in the end, international leaders visit places that project stability, opportunity, and consensus. Carney's decision is not just about logistics. It is a signal that economic diplomacy leaves little room for political turbulence. The question now is not why Punjab was skipped. The real question is who allowed Punjab to become skippable. With Rudrishish Kanjilal, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Saudi Arabia has made a major move that could shake up the global poultry trade. The kingdom has banned the poultry and egg imports from 40 countries, including India, citing rising fear over bird flu outbreaks. Officials say the decision is precautionary, aimed at protecting the public health and securing the global food supply chain. For India, the stakes are high, exporters are worried, and the world is watching to see who follows next. Here is a report by Shaurik Saha.
Saudi Arabia has just made a major move that could shake up global poultry trade. The kingdom has banned poultry and egg imports from 40 countries, including India, amid rising global concerns over bird flu outbreaks. The Saudi Food and Drug Authority says the decision is precautionary, aimed at protecting public health and securing the country's food supply chain. Officials say the banned nations were identified through international disease surveillance reports, particularly linked to highly pathogenic avian influenza, better known as bird flu. But this is not a blanket freeze on everything. Heat-treated and fully processed poultry products may still be allowed, provided they meet strict health standards and carry certified veterinary clearance. Saudi regulators say every shipment will undergo thorough inspection. For India, the move could disrupt trade flows, especially for exporters who depend heavily on the Saudi market. Industry experts are now assessing the economic impact and reviewing compliance measures. Meanwhile, 16 other countries, including the United States, Australia, France, and Canada, face partial restrictions targeting specific provinces and cities. Globally, concerns about bird flu are intensifying. Since 2003, outbreaks have spread across Asia, Africa, and Europe, raising fears of potential future pandemics. Saudi Arabia says consumer safety comes first. The question now is, will other nations follow with similar restrictions as bird flu fears continue to grow? With Sharik Shah, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
As we wrap up today's show, here's a quick look at the top stories making waves around the world. Larry Summers resigns from Harvard after Epstein correspondence exposed, ending a storied but now shadowed academic career at one of the world's most prestigious universities. Paramount Skydance won the battle for Warner Brothers Discovery after Netflix walked away from the bidding war, calling the $31 share price tag no longer financially rational. The United States is pushing to fast-track 4,500 white South African refugee applications every month, far exceeding its own stated refugee cap and setting up a processing village inside its Pretoria embassy to make it happen. Israeli strike killed 8 people across Gaza as the US brokered ceasefire shadowed fresh signs of strain, with both sides trading blame for violation of the fragile truce. Jack Dorsey's bloc is cutting nearly half its workforce, over 4,000 jobs, replacing people with AI, and Wall Street rewarded the decision with a 25% surge in after-hours trading. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Namaste World. From breakthrough in technology and business to political developments and natural disasters. Stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates, key developments, and more from New Delhi to New York. See you again tomorrow, same time, right here on Namaste World.